Hello, and welcome to Binding of Isaac Bootcamp. Today we're going to look at a set of items I like to call the Big Three, which is comprised of Dr. Fetus, Brimstone, and Mom's Knife, thusly named because I consider them to be the three most powerful offensive items in the entire game, each having a considerable effect upon how you deal damage as well as the amount you deal. Although all three give you a great advantage as you progress through the game, the differences between how they deliver this advantage are stark in contrast, as well as the ways in which each of the items can be exploited for maximum benefit to you as the player. We'll start off straight away with Dr. Fetus. The item I have to say is my favourite pickup in the entire game, as I consider it to be the most fun to use of the three big damage dealers, plus it gives you a snazzy little top hat for your character. Picking up the Fetus in the jar will change your character's offensive abilities by changing their tiers into bombs, and will, as bombs tend to do, explode after a short fuse, a fuse which can be shortened by picking up upgrades to your tier stat. After your first shot, you will be unable to fire again until the first bomb has exploded, and the bombs will retain some tier-like behaviour, in that they will be blocked by environmental objects such as rocks, will be blocked by monsters, will only travel a fixed range, as well as gliding over pitfalls in the ground. As with tiers, environmental objects can be phased through with your shots by acquiring the Ouija board, allowing your bombs to slide straight through rocks, which leads us onto the myriad of other interesting ways Dr. Fetus can be combined with other items to interesting effect, albeit not always a useful one. The first combination is the chocolate milk item, which seems to be unfortunately bugged in that the bombs will be recoloured to brown and have a bigger blast radius once you pick up this item, but the effect disappears as soon as you leave the room you acquired the chocolate milk in, rendering it totally useless, so you may as well pass this combination by. The common cold gives you a chance to inflict a poison status upon any monsters that are caught within the blast radius of your bombs, which is a helpful little damage over time to tick away the life of anything that's either too big to finish off with one shot or just manage to survive a single bomb blast. Dr. Fetus and technology allows you to utilise both items at the same time, so in essence you'll be firing both bombs and lasers simultaneously. Whilst this sounds pretty cool, and admittedly is, you'll have to be careful, as technology tends to require attack spamming for damage, whilst bombs need you to be a little more precise, or you risk accidentally blowing yourself up. Picking up either Mom's Contact or the Parasite will have a purely aesthetic effect in that it will recolour your bombs to be red. So for those out of you there who want to colour coordinate your Isaac, this may be for you, but for those who won't want a noticeable upgrade, you may want to pass this one by. Picking up Brimstone after you already have the Dr. Fetus item will override it and give you the Brimstone power-up with no additional effects from your Dr. Fetus. Personally, I don't advocate this choice, although as I said I am biased because this is my favourite item in the game, but weigh up the choice carefully. The two most powerful combinations with Dr. Fetus, however, are the Mr. Mega and Homing Bomb upgrades. Mr. Mega, as it normally does, will upgrade your bombs in terms of both blast radius and damage, as well as changing the bomb texture itself, and this will apply to every bomb you launch, greatly increasing the damage output of an already strong item. Homing bombs do exactly what they say on the tin and cause your bombs to drift towards enemies as you launch them. However, be a little on guard with this upgrade, as if an enemy is behind you, your bomb may end up homing towards you. You have a fair likelihood to see this one, if not both of these items, once you do have the Dr. Fetus, as picking it up greatly increases the spawn rate of the two upgrades. Picking up Dr. Fetus is also a great boon in that it gives you infinite bombs, so instead of having to ration out your explosives usage on earlier floors, you can simply throw bombs at appropriate walls to try and find the secret room to your heart's content. And also you can feed the bombs you launch to bosses Chub and Chad, which will stun them for a short while and cause a fair bit of damage. I would say though you should be careful when using Dr. Fetus, particularly for your first time finding it, as it is very easy to accidentally blow yourself up if you don't time your shots correctly. This item is unlocked by completing the game 5 times and has by far the lowest drop rate of the big three. The second of the big three is Brimstone, an item generally found in Deal with the Devil rooms or as a reward for fighting the Fallen. It changes your tiers so that you fire a wide laser across the entire room after a short charge-up period of around 2 seconds. The laser also remains firing for around 2 seconds more, so it is possible to inflict 2 ticks of damage upon one monster within one charge, which is enough to take out practically any monster in the entire game, including enemies with 2 stages such as Globins or Mulligans. You can also charge up your laser by holding down the attack button in one room, walk into another and fire it, at the cost of half its possible damage. which can save you a lot of hassle, as the main risk with Brimstone is being hit during the charge stage, as picking it up removes the knockback effect of your tears. A good trick to learn with Brimstone to maximise your damage with it is to begin charging your second shot during the attack animation of the first, so as soon as you fire off the shot you've just charged, immediately start charging another, and it will be ready far sooner than if you had simply waited for the beam to dissipate before charging once more. As with Dr. Fetus, this item also has one or two interesting combinations. Firstly is its use with the chocolate milk item. Wielding the chocolate milk and Brimstone together gives you the ability to fire off your laser before you have it fully charged, allowing you to fire more frequently, with each shot putting out less damage, which can be a useful counterweight to the risk that comes with the Brimstone, your vulnerability of being hit whilst you are charging. However, one major foil for this combination is the fact that it removes your ability to charge before entering a room, as if you do that with chocolate milk, your first shot will cause absolutely no damage, and generally, for myself, this weakness is the reason I never use the two in combination. In terms of straight stat ups, you have more options with the Brimstone, as tier up items will reduce the charge time of your laser, and damage ups do exactly what you imagine they would, and increase the damage output of your beam. When using the Brimstone, it's best to take full advantage of the massive power you have with it at long range. You can stand across the other side of the room and take out enemies before they can even think of getting near you, and as the Brimstone's attack has a piercing effect, enemies you have to hit in the back, such as knights, can be destroyed from the front, and enemies with multiple segments, such as Larry Jr., can be generally killed with one well-placed shot, which hits them all. The Brimstone came in with the Halloween update, and requires no jumping through hoops to unlock, and so long as you're taking little enough damage to see the deal with the Devil Room now and again, you'll very likely run into it before long, probably at the low cost of just one red heart. The final item on our list is the very sharp, very pointy Mom's Knife. When this item is picked up, it replaces Isaac's tears with a knife, and also dresses him in a less than flattering dress. Much like the Brimstone, you can charge the knife up, and whilst charging you can even use it at very close range to stab enemies, although this is delicately done, as anything at close range can easily turn around on you, and you end up being the one taking damage. Unlike the Brimstone, however, you need not fully charge the knife to release it, and when doing so it will be flung out in front of your character at a range proportional to how long it was charged, although even at full charge it won't be a particularly impressive distance. This really is a short range weapon. In terms of damage, the knife is linked with the base damage of your character, so items such as damage ups are definitely still worth picking up once you've acquired this item, and also you apply shot effects to it as well, such as damage over time effects like the common cold, or paralysis effects such as the spider bite or Mom's contact. Depending on what item it is you pick up in combination with the knife, you may also change what the knife looks like. A green glaze to the blade being added when you collect the common cold, a yellow one when you pick up the number 1, a grey sheen when you pick up the rock, and the blade even turns transparent when you pick up the Ouija board. In terms of combination with the other two of the big 3 items, combining Mom's Knife with Dr. Fetus gives you no stat or attack changes, but you will gain the monocle and the top hat associated with it, and as I mentioned before, if you pick up the Brimstone and Mom's Knife together, it will decrease the charge time of the knife. Two other good pairings with Mom's Knife are Wiggleworm and Spoonbender. Wiggleworm is an item I usually outright despise, as with regular tears it removes your ability to strafe shot. However, when combined with Mom's Knife it allows you to launch your edge weapon in a weaving line, allowing it to cover a wider area in front of you, and therefore put out more damage on whatever you're throwing it at. This is particularly handy for whittling down the HP bars of bosses. The Spoonbender will give a very slight homing effect to your knife, which can be handy as the hitbox for the knife seems to be quite small, and having it lean one way or another, even a little, can result in a kill when you normally would have missed. However, the item I believe to be the ultimate pairing with Mom's Knife, a combination I greatly enjoy using, is My Little Unicorn, as Mom's Knife is the only attack that can be used in the game whilst you have My Little Unicorn spacebar effect active. It basically turns you into a temporarily invincible, multicoloured, horn and knife wielding killing machine, a combination that can rip through a lot of bosses' HP bars in very little time. Mom's Knife, as with Brimstone, has a piercing effect, and can again be used to take out enemies which must be hit from certain directions, like the knights from the front, and kill enemies with segments like the aforementioned Larry Jr. in one hit. However, I advise caution with the knights, as they seem to have a very small hitbox towards the centre of their body when it comes to using Mom's Knife against them from the front, and I can't tell you how many times I've lined up a shot from the front that I thought would finish them off, only to have the knife sail through them without hitting them once. When using Mom's knife, it is also useful to realise that it's not just flinging it out that does damage. Much like a boomerang, the knife will come back to you after it has been thrown, and anything it hits will also take damage. So if you can cleverly use that and line it up so that the enemies you missed will be hit by the returning arc, you can really get some nice kills using this trick. Mom's knife isn't available as soon as you start the game, and you're going to have to beat Satan with our main character Isaac before you can use it. After that, it will generally appear in Deal with the Devil rooms as a drop from the Fallen, and sometimes appear in item rooms. And that is it for today's Binding of Isaac bootcamp on the Big 3. Hopefully there have been some tips and tricks that some of you will find useful, and maybe even help people to up their game. See you guys soon.